Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best value midfielders that you can buy in FPL. Now this doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best players in that position, but obviously a little bit cheaper players that you are going to get some nice value of, obviously backed by stats as well. Speaking on the stats, if you do want to see more stats like this one in the video, make sure to sign up for Fantasy Football Hub. You can get 50% off right now in pre-season, and you do get your money back if you do not win your mini league, so make sure to use the link down in the description if you want to sign up for that. And of course my mini league is live, as you can see on screen. The link is also in the description to auto join that, and you can obviously see the mini league code on screen. But let's jump into some of the best value midfielders. So the first player we're going to look at is the one that everyone is talking about, basically everyone's fifth midfielder at the minute, and it is Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. Now as you can see, Nottingham Forest have some of the best opening fixtures this season, with Brentford at home, who are looking like a pretty weak team at the minute, not really making any signings and losing a lot of their big players. Palace away, I don't think it's going to be great, but it's not an awful fixture either. West Ham at home could be a pretty nice one, obviously a difficult one in game week 4 against Arsenal, but then two promoted sides in game week 5 and 6 against Burnley and Sunderland. Now the main reason that everyone is buying up Elliot Anderson for only 5.5 million is the defensive contributions. Now I'm seeing a lot of different figures for the defensive contributions. I don't really know where people are getting them from. I've personally taken mine from this right here, which does have Elliot Anderson at 15 defensive contributions per 90 minutes. Now I'm seeing a lot that does have about 13.5, but either way, obviously, as you know, the average or the threshold for defensive contributions for midfielders is going to be 12 to achieve those extra 2 points. So Elliot Anderson, no matter what figures you are going to be using, does seem to have an average above that 12. So he does look as though he is going to be picking up 2 points every single match, and again for 5.5 million is really all you are looking for, a minimum of 4 points, and of course you do want some attacking returns in there as well, which Elliot Anderson can provide. As you can see, his stats last season, picked up a decent amount of minutes, played 37 games, but he also got 2 goals and 6 assists, which is pretty decent. Again, not anything absolutely unreal. At the end of the day, he's only a 5.5 midfielder, but you know, 5.5 XGI as well isn't too bad, and the fact that he is also taking corners as well does make him look like a really good option. Again, for 5.5 million, you can go for someone, you know, like Arias, who is available at 5.5, but again, you are just relying on attacking returns from him. It kind of brings me back to like Smith Rowe from last year, where he would get a 2-pointer one game and a 7-pointer the next, then a 2-pointer, then a 2-pointer, and you were really relying on attacking returns. I think for the cheaper midfielders, your best option is going to be to go for someone who is also going to get defensive contributions. That way, if you are going to play them, you do have at least a floor of about 4 points, and then hopefully they can pick up an attacking return on top of that, and then you can maybe look towards, you know, 7, 8, 9 points from those players. So a really nice one who is going to be taking set pieces as well for Nottingham Forest, and obviously a pretty decent team. I think Elliot Anderson looks like fantastic value for only 5.5 million. Next, we're going to take a look at a player who has came into teams very recently. Wasn't a player who was really considered at the start, but now after a pretty decent pre-season, Daniel Malen has been pretty well considered by a lot of players. Again, only 5.5 million. He does kind of fall under that Arias category, where you are kind of just wanting goals from him and not so much you know, a high floor. I think you are going to see a lot of 2-pointers from him, which is why personally as someone that I wouldn't choose. But again, for a lot of people and just in general, it does seem as though he is going to provide pretty decent value for game week 1 and onwards. Really nice fixtures for Aston Villa. Again, some of the best fixtures available. Newcastle at home, a team who has looked like they have struggled a fair bit recently, obviously not being able to bring in any new signings either. Brentford away, already spoke on them. Palace, Everton, Sunderland, a promoted team in there, and then Fulham as well. So no red fixtures, a couple orange ones in there, but you know, ones that you would definitely expect Aston Villa to get some sort of result in. Now with Malen, obviously in pre-season, he has a goal and 3 assists in 3 matches, so one of the best pre-season performers in the Aston Villa team. He did come on off the bench at striker for Ollie Watkins in 2 of those matches, and he played 90 minutes at right mid in the first match as well, and that's when he picked up 2 of those 3 assists. So he is someone, I think, you are looking at, at least you are looking at a cheap route into the Villa team, and they've got a nice fixture run, and he's obviously had a great pre-season, but I think there is a lot of risks that do come with him as well. Does he start every game? You don't think, obviously with pre-season coming on at striker for Ollie Watkins, you can't guarantee that he is going to be playing, and I think with game week 1 your best chance is just to go with nailed players, so you don't end up making really early transfers in game week 2, in game week 3, and of course with Malin you aren't going to get any set pieces from him either. He's not going to be on penalties, he doesn't take any free kicks, no corners either, so you are just really relying on goals and assists from him, which is kind of going against what I just spoke about with Elliot Anderson. I think going for someone with defensive contributions is going to be a little bit more useful than someone who you just rely on attack and returns for your cheaper midfield spot. So I do see value in Malin. I think he is definitely one of the best value players if he does start every game for Aston Villa. But personally, I like to play the safe option in game week 1, and I think I would prefer to go for Elliot Anderson over Daniel Malin. But at the end of the day, he's 1.5 million cheaper than Morgan Rogers. So if you do want to go for an Aston Villa attacker and you can't afford maybe Rogers or Ollie Watkins, I do think Malin could be a great value pick to make it into the Aston Villa attack. Next up, we're going for one of the most popular midfielders in the game at the minute, and it is Ndiaye from Everton. Now, what makes him such a special asset is the fact that he's moved from a forward last year to a midfielder this year. Obviously plays in the left wing spot for Everton, so midfielder is a little bit more appropriate for him, but he also has a great run of fixtures, as you can see with Leeds in game week 1. Brighton in game week 2, Wolves in game week 3, and Villa in game week 4. You could definitely see some goals from Everton in there. And of course, last season, Ndiaye doesn't have the best stats in total. He's only got 29 starts, 66 minutes per game isn't a whole lot, but it was really towards the end of the season that we did start to see form from him. He picked up 9 goals and 0 assists. I'm pretty sure 6 of those goals came in the last 15 or so game weeks. So he really wasn't anywhere in the first 20 or so game weeks, but he really started to come into his own towards the end of the season. Picked up 7.4 expected goal involvement, but the big reason that makes him so useful is the fact that he is the penalty taker for Everton. So you're going to get penalties from him. Obviously a really nice fixture run for Everton, and he scored in pre-season yesterday against Man United, and that wasn't a penalty either. So someone who is obviously a main threat for Everton, with really nice fixtures, and is going to be taking penalties at only 6.5 million. I think that is a really nice option to go for. Again, he's another one similar to the 5.5 midfielders, where you could take a different route and go for someone like Declan Rice or Enzo Fernandez, who potentially will pick up defensive contributions as well. But I think Ndiaye's got he's got high potential, he's got high ceiling of picking up maybe 2 goals, maybe a hat-trick in the odd game as well. So I think he is probably my preferred option there. I think 6.5 is where you really want to go for the more quality players who do have the higher ceilings. I think the fact he does have penalties and is a midfielder makes Ndiaye a really, really high value player for this season. Then we're going to be rounding it off with a new player who has just been added to the game, and it is Granit Xhaka, only 5 million. Now, I think he is 0.5 million underpriced. I think it would have been really fair to price him at 5.5, but at 5 million, he looks like he could be fantastic value as a potential bench player who's going to sit first or second on your bench and come on when you need him to come on. Now, what you're getting from him is a guaranteed starter. He's Sunderland's star signing this summer. He is going to be playing in every single match. He's one of the cheapest midfielders in the game. He picked up 8.8 defensive contributions at Leverkusen last season. Now again, midfielders need 12, so 8.8 on the average is a fair bit below what you are looking for, but the fact he has now joined one of the weaker teams in the league as opposed to being at one of the strongest teams in the league last season, I think you are going to see a lot more defensive contributions from Granit Xhaka this season, and a very decent potential of picking up those every single game, or at least you know, every 2, every 3 games and getting those extra points in. Now, the thing with Xhaka as well is he does have good attacking potential. He is someone who, you know, scores a fair amount of times. You can see his stats from last season. He picked up 2 goals and 7 assists last year, which is better than the likes of Elliot Anderson, who was 2 goals and 6 assists, and you're getting them for cheaper as well. Now, a lot of minutes, a lot of games started last season as well. Obviously, the Bundesliga season only has 34 games, so he started in 33 of those, and, you know, a player who is probably going to play 90 minutes every single week for Sunderland as well. Now, is he going to take set pieces? I don't know. Obviously, we haven't really seen enough of him for Sunderland yet to potentially see if he'll be on free kicks and corners. I'd highly doubt he'll be on penalties, but free kicks and corners is a possibility for him. Is just one we're going to have to wait and see for him. But only 5 million and some of the best opening fixtures. I believe it's actually the best opening fixtures in the league for the first 6 game weeks, with West Ham at home, Burnley away, Brentford at home. That's possibly 3 of the best fixtures you could possibly have in the opening 3 games, and then Palace, Villa and Nottingham Forest a little bit more difficult, but as I mentioned, he is a player that you can just sit on the bench as your 5th midfielder. So between him and Anderson, it really depends how much risk you want to take. Obviously, Xhaka's new to the league. You know what you're going to get out of Elliot Anderson. He does look more nailed on to get those defensive contributions, but Xhaka's a really nice pick, and I think there's no harm in going for him if you want to use that extra 0.5 million elsewhere. So Xhaka, Anderson, my 2 favourites from here, and Ndiaye, a really great 6.5 million pick, and Malen is a bit of a risky player that you could potentially go for, and that is it for our value midfielders. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, and again, make sure to join the mini league down below in the description if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe for more content. We'll have the forwards video coming out next, and of course much more FPL content before the first day of the season. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.